All right, there's a lot going on right now with the Denver Nuggets that is very impressive. Currently, they are sitting at 17-6, which is good for the number 2 spot in the Western Conference. And on top of that, it is the best start to a season in the history of the franchise. So what you have right now in the Western Conference are 2 teams who are at the top in them and OKC, who are both having historically great starts to the season. Right now, the Thunder have only lost 1 game. And as I said, Denver's current record is the greatest start to a season in the history of the franchise. Goes to show you just how strong the top of the Western Conference is right now. On top of all of that, Denver has won 3 straight games and has put together 10 consecutive road victories, which is very impressive and translatable to the playoffs because winning on the road is absolutely huge and is one of the biggest swing factors for any championship contending team. They're doing it all with the number 1 offense in the NBA as they're top in the league in offensive rating. And what is most impressive is the fact that they're playing a lot better with Jokic off the court. Obviously, last year, a massive issue was when Jokic went to the bench, they struggled in a huge way. Now, they're still worse with Jokic off the court. That always happens when your best player is not out there playing, but it is not as big of an issue as it was last season, and that speaks to their depth with guys like Bruce Brown and Jonas Valanciunas holding it down in those non-Jokic minutes. So the offense is dominant, and they're doing a lot better with Jokic off the court. Now, the biggest point of concern is the defense. Right now, they're 18th in defensive rating, and they're one of the worst teams in the NBA in clutch defense, so they could tighten things up on that end in a massive way. But nonetheless, great offensive start and great overall start to the season for a team with title contending aspirations. I want to start off and talk about Jamal Murray, who has been so good so far this season, and this has by far been the best basketball he has played in the regular season of his NBA career. Right now, he's putting up 25 points, making half of his shots, knocking down 44.7% of his looks from downtown, along with 6.8 assists, and those are career highs across the board. Murray is an interesting case, right? This is a guy who is one of the best playoff risers in the NBA. It's been that way since 2020. He has had so many iconic moments, so many clutch moments. He is a champion, and I think he's been one of the 10 best playoff players in the league since 2020. But if you look at his accolades and his awards and things like that, it's not a super stacked resume. Sure, he's an NBA champion, and on top of that, he did make an all-rookie team, but there's no all-star nod or all-NBA selection for a guy that has been this good. Usually the guys who are great that just don't make all-star games are not these elite level second options in the playoffs. Murray is an elite level second option in the playoffs. You can put the ball in his hands, ask him to make clutch plays. Countless times he has been able to deliver. But again, as I said, the resume is really not that stacked. We're talking about a guy that put up nearly 27 points per game in a postseason championship run and has never made an all-star team or an all-NBA selection and is constantly played on one of the best teams in the entire Western Conference. All of that, I know it's been weird, but this is the season where things finally are coming together for Jamal Murray from an individual accolade standpoint. I think he's been all-NBA this season, and he has also by far been a selection for the All-Star game. I mean, the dude has 3 career 50-point games, and one of those came in the playoffs. Like, that's insane that he has not made an All-Star or All-NBA team just yet. He also has been a 20-point per game player in the regular season, and still no All-Star or All-NBA selections. I don't want to get too caught up in what he doesn't have because, as I said, this season he has made more than a very strong case for being an All-Star and an All-NBA member for the first time in his career. Obviously, have to go back and talk about the man, the myth, the legend, in Nikola Jokic, who is once again putting up insane video game-like numbers. He has literally been as good this season as he was last year, as he is putting up 29 points, 12 rebounds, and 11 assists a game, making it back-to-back seasons of him being a center, averaging a triple-double. That is insane. It does not make any sense, and this dude is just doing it on very efficient shooting, making over 60% of his shots and over 40% of his looks from downtown. This entire SGA and Jokic MVP race saga probably has been the best in NBA history by far. On one end, you have SGA, who's this guy that's putting up an efficient 30 plus points per game on the most dominant team in the NBA and is also virtually unguardable and contributing to an elite level defense. On the other side, you have a center doing things that a center should not be able to do. The man is almost 30 points per game, putting up an efficient triple-double. Years down the road, when we look back at this SGA and Jokic MVP race saga, we're going to talk about just how great it is and how hard it's going to be able to replicate down the road. You're not going to get something like this in a very long time after these guys. I mean, let me know. Name an MVP race that has been this good throughout the course of NBA history. There have been some amazing ones, but none like this. This is literally video game-like. They've been neck and neck. And it's really difficult to argue one over the other. Moving from Jokic, who's again just been insane and you really can't talk too much about him, I want to also give a shout out to Cam Johnson, who has been a massive contributor here for Denver, knocking down 45% of his shots and, as expected, making 39% of his looks from downtown. They said in the offseason he was a cheaper version of MPJ that was a little bit more serviceable to Denver's offensive attack than MPJ. MPJ was not an amazing ball mover and all of that stuff, and I don't want to downplay him completely because he's still a really good player, but Cam Johnson makes a little bit more sense in Denver's offensive attack, and we're seeing that so far here this season. You've got to give him credit for sacrificing. Last year, he was almost averaging 20 points per game. This season, it's 11. But again, he is fitting perfectly into a role. This is a guy that also has NBA Finals experience. He has been so valuable here for this Nuggets squad, and again, is contributing to the best offensive attack in all of basketball, and it's helped this team get right back into title contention status. So, massive fan of Denver. There's been a lot of great stuff going on. I did fail to mention that they've been hot over their last couple of games in the absence of Aaron Gordon, who has been amazing this season so far when he has been on the court. So great start working in their resilience, and also just a good job at establishing themselves as the most dominant offense in all of basketball. They're getting great returns on their offseason investments, especially with their depth, playing much better than last season with Jokic off the court. And again, that has been a massive catalyst behind their hot start and them trying to get back in that championship window that they were in back in 2023.